Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing another Q&A video answer segment type of video for you guys' questions. Main first question for this one is, what do I think is the most unnecessary death so far in The Walking Dead? This constitutes The Walking Dead Season 6 Q&A number 21. Blackjack. Okay, so I've got a few of you guys' questions. Spoiler warning for anyone who hasn't seen all The Walking Dead yet. I feel the need to say that because sometimes I get some weird comments like, "Oh, you spoiled Shane's death for me," or something like that when I talk in the Q&As, which is weird. But yeah, I really do get some comments like that sometimes. So keep sending me your guys' questions. I want to do a Q&A for Fear the Walking Dead, but I don't have enough questions. So please, guys, if you have any thoughts or you're wondering anything about Fear the Walking Dead, there's some pictures that have been released that I could probably combine with a Fear the Walking Dead Q&A because I do want to do one for you guys this week, but I need more questions. So send me what you got. And like I said in the channel updates video, I'll probably be doing some throwback reviews as well too. There's a couple episodes in season 3 I'd like to kind of do some throwback reviews to, some of the special ones, you know, in season 3, and maybe even, well, 4 hasn't been that long, but maybe even a couple, because I've done throwbacks for pretty much all season 1 and 2 at this point, for the most part. In a few from 3, a good portion from 3. All right, cool. So the first question, this one came from Thethemeparkguy, and he says, I know I already asked this, so I apologize, but I really want to see your answer. Well, you got it, man. See, persistence sometimes pays off. Okay, so I have a question for a Q&A video, whatever works, or a video by itself, he says basically. What death do you feel like was the most unnecessary? In other words, what death do you feel like was made specifically for shock value rather than the plot progress from the event? I feel like you might have done a topic similar to this before, but I figured I would ask just in case. And he says his answers are Andrea and Dale, but he puts in brackets, I think he quit though, and Noah. So, yeah, so I think this is a great question to do a Q&A for, and keep sending me your guys' awesome questions because it really gives me something to do. I want to make videos for you guys. You guys want to see more videos, but we need things to do videos on. We need things to talk about. So this is a great question because it's been a few seasons. Well, here's what I'll say to you, Theme Park Guy, and anyone else who's watching. If you're thinking about suggesting something, but you're worried that I've done it before, send it to me anyway, because at this point, my channel is basically with regards to The Simpsons, or with regards to The Walking Dead, it's Simpsons situation. Simpsons did it, Simpsons did it, Simpsons did it. I've done everything. I've done pretty much everything already over the years. I mean, it's been 5 years, of Walking Dead, 5 full seasons, and all the way through, I've made, tons of videos, thousands, literally getting close to 2,000, probably in and around 2,000 now, because some of the channels have been deleted and that stuff I created early on, and that because YouTube used to be hardcore about shutting people's channels down. If you used pictures, if you used a trailer or any video footage, oh man, you were done. They'd shut you down right away. But that was a long time ago. So yeah, I made a couple thousand videos at this point. I've talked about pretty much everything dead. So don't worry, just ask me anyway, because it changes as the seasons go through. With this one, for example, most unnecessary death, had you have asked me after season 3 or season 4, I definitely would have agreed with you that Andrea and Dale should be in there. And if I had to pick one out of the two, I do think that Dale's death worked out okay. It would have been cool. It would have been better to see him stay in the series. But what they did was, which was pretty clever, is they basically gave his responsibilities to Herschel, is what they did. They turned Herschel into Dale, is basically what they did after season 2. They made Herschel kind of that, and it fit perfectly. Like the glove, just it fit just right size and everything. It just fit so easily because we already knew that Herschel was a religious man. We already knew that he was a family man. A good person, that kind of thing. And so, he was already kind of there anyway. So even though I would have liked to have seen Dale stick around for a while longer, maybe 2 more seasons or another season, a season and a half, that kind of thing, maybe keep him around for season 3. And I do agree that was an unnecessary death at that time because we had Shane's death coming up and we had the big finale and stuff. So it was really kind of unnecessary. But they have to have some of them spread throughout periodically to keep us on edge and on our toes. They don't want us to feel like, characters are safe or that characters won't randomly die. they will. So some of the deaths with random deaths, that's going to happen. Also, okay, so the Andrea death is the next one I want to touch on. I'd say hers was more unnecessary than Dale's because you did have the governor whole fight and battle and stuff between Woodbury and the prison. You guys have heard my thoughts on that, have some problems with that and how that played out in the end. Wish Rick's group would have killed more of the Woodbury attackers rather than the governor killing most of them himself. I think it would have been better if Daryl and the rest had just, killed a bunch of them, and then the rest retreated because a lot of them were being killed and dying, so they ran off, and then the governor, feeling defeated, killed the rest. That would have made a lot more sense, but it didn't feel that way. However, there may be some, cable concerns or something with Daryl grenading a bunch of Woodbury people, like with not like a flashbang or like a smoke grenade, like an actual grenade, just something like that. But I don't know. He killed Mitch after the tank without too much trouble in cold blood, straight on, right, with the shot. So that was that. But yeah, I would say probably. Andrea is one of them too, because hers was really, you could have gone a lot of different ways with hers in the finale, but maybe they felt like they wanted to overcompensate because a lot of people thought the governor's story arc was going to end right there, so they decided to kill her off to delay it and bring him back again, and they felt like that was a big finale type-esque part. And I do agree it was, and it also was unpredictable. And I felt the series was more unpredictable at that time than it has been, a lot of times afterwards. But then again, if you look at, so there's season 3. Season 5, you have, of course, Tyrese's death. That one for me might be the most unnecessary of the entire series because you really didn't need it at that time. You really didn't. And it didn't work either, I feel like. It didn't work at that time. To do it in a premiere like that, when, and to have such kind of like a sad episode at that time, just didn't work for me at all. Because we were all excited and happy and ready to get back into seeing more Dad after Coda. And that was a pretty big death, too, with Beth. I mean, people were talking about that 2 months afterwards. 3 months afterward, there was like Facebook fan pages and stuff, bring Beth back and stuff. So that one for me actually might beat the Andrea one, was the Tyrese one. Also because he was a character in the series for a long time, really cool character, and it was just a random kind of happenstance type death. In some ways similar to what happened with T-Dog in season 3, to be honest with you. So I would probably go with Tyrese. And also, one thing I actually do like, which I didn't think I would, because it'd be cool to see Andrea in the TV series still. However, the comic book series version of Andrea and what happens with her is so much different, with the TV series version hooking up with Shane, hooking up with the governor. After that, she's not the same character she was in the comic books anyway. If she afterwards with that tries to hook up with Rick, how are the viewers going to feel? They're going to hate that, right? So I think they might have made a good decision to kill her off because of her being with them prior, right? You see what I'm saying? And possibly with Dale, even though we don't know, we didn't really see that. So that's possibly 3. So, viewers are not going to buy that afterwards. They're not going to like that. So it's not exactly the same as the comic book series with her. And also, one thing I'm liking about the comic book series is that it feels a lot different. You have different characters, different versions. Like we have Andrea, got the Andrea figure. She's up there with the comic book Rick. And it's just such a cool thing having the two of them in the comic book series, which is so different from the TV series. And I like them being unique and individual like that. So, even though I hated the Andrea death at first and I thought maybe they could come back from it and it'd be okay, when I think about it this way, it works out too. So I would say the most unnecessary death is got to be the Tyrese one. Noah's, I thought it was okay because Noah was a character where he was used as a plot device to get them on the path to find Alexandria, which was fine. And he was kind of one of those random happenstance deaths as it occurs. But we're going to have seasoned characters that come in like Milton. Season 3, at the end of season 3, is no longer in the show. You're going to have that. You're going to have season-esque characters as we go through, and there's no way around that. It's just that's what you're going to have. That it's part of having so many episodes and so many seasons that you're going to have different themes and different characters, and that's just how it's going to be. So I would go with Tyrese for this topic as the most unnecessary death. Season 4, who do we have from season 4 that maybe was unnecessary? I can't really think of any there. I mean, we got Tara to stay. Lily died. No, she's with the governor. So again, you don't really want sleeping with the enemy type deal. You wouldn't want her to stick around. And that's probably what I would say in terms of unnecessary deaths. Tyrese takes it, I think, at this time. In the future, we'll see. But it just really felt at that moment what happened and what's going on. It just the placing of it. I like they want to keep things unpredictable for the viewer, and yeah, I get that. But still, too, you want to keep things enjoyable, and I just think that was kind of a killer note to start the second half of the season on. Just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Write your opinion below on the most unnecessary death that just really didn't do much for you, didn't do that much for the series, and you wish they would have gone a different way. Tyrese, for me, is it. They could have put his death in at the Noah part or something, or something like that, and it would have been huge, right? At an action sequence or something. But they have the reasons, right? They wanted to reinforce the fear of the zombies. And they don't want us to forget that. Otherwise, it makes some of the other stuff, when characters do survive against zombies, predictable and less exciting, right? Because they're not as dangerous anymore. Okay, so we'll do a few more questions from you guys, and then I'll wrap it up for this Q&A. Next one's from James Wilmot. He says, what makes The Walking Dead so much better than anything else? I worry about asking this question, as J. Michael Straczynski, creator of Babylon 5, said something to the effect that to suggest is to create, and to define is to destroy. Cool, man. I am not familiar with the quote. J. Michael Straczynski, I think he writes for comic books too, right? I think he did Thor or something. Am I thinking of the right person? Maybe not. Not sure. Not familiar with him. Sorry, man. I don't know everybody out there who's writing, and I don't keep up that much with different series like Babylon 5 and stuff like that. So yeah, well, let me address your question is what makes The Walking Dead, in my opinion, because not everybody feels this way. I mean, the show does great, but a lot of us, it's our favorite series, right? It's not everybody's favorite show, right? And we got to understand that. It's definitely not. But it is one of the best shows on TV. So if you're asking me, in my opinion, what makes it so great in terms of like the zombie apocalypse genre, and why it's genre defining, or it's really adjusted or changed the whole genre, is actually, in my opinion, this is what it is. It's not that it's a zombie apocalypse story, because there's been zombie apocalypse stuff. It's not that what am I trying to say here? It's not the genre that it is. It's the quality of the story, and it's the idea that you have a long-running show. That's what it is. And the Japanese have known this for a long time. The Japanese have had, anime, manga is typically long-running. You have some shorter ones, but a lot of them go on for as long as they can, and they'll be released. You have some anime and manga that have been going for 15 years, longer, 20 years, stuff like this. And it's a story, and it's not like a comedy. In North America, a lot of what we have with long-running shows is comedy stuff. I mentioned The Simpsons earlier. Let's use that as an example. Episodic. One episode starts, episode ends, and you start all over again. Or some kind of CSI show where there really isn't any character development. It's just episodic, like who are they after this week? Okay, who are they after this week? Okay, who are they after this week? And it's just episodic, just boom, 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 round in a circle, like you're not really progressing anywhere. And I think that The Walking Dead, what it does so great is it took the zombie apocalypses, which typically are so episodic in terms of movies and anything that they have, which is like one, and even World War Z now, as we're hearing, is going to continue the same story with the same characters. And you can get so much attachment over the seasons to characters as they grow, as they change, as they develop. Characters die, new characters come in, and you can have a long-running, amazing story about survival, which is not just about zombies, zombie apocalypse. It's really a story of survival, and that's why other shows like Game of Thrones, for example, are so amazing as well, because it hits on that kind of that survival. The horror adds into as well, because you don't want your favorite characters to die and stuff. It hits that kind of long-running survival story that is so familiar to human beings, intelligent human beings especially. Most viewers of this kind of stuff are I usually think, are pretty intelligent, for the most part, at least in my opinion. And I just love that genre, I just love it. Like another movie that's one of my favorites is The Grey with Liam Neeson, which is a survival horror where they're the wolves that are basically tracking them and killing them off one at a time. And it's a great movie to check it out if you haven't seen The Grey. There's a great quote at the end. And it's just, it's so in our nature to hear stories about survival. And That's why I think The Walking Dead is so great, is because it's a long-running life-type story about survival. And I'd like to see it with other things, too. I think it could work with the superhero genre. I think it could work, with long-running shows, with things like that, and could really be great if they're handled with the same kind of quality. And if you have someone like Robert Kirkman writing, or even half as good as him writing, a lot of different shows can work. Or George R. R. Martin with Game of Thrones. Even people half as good, if they follow that same strategy, then they can create something great. So that's what I think makes it so great. And let's do one more, and then we'll wrap it up because I don't want to go on for too long. Next one is, let's do another one from James, actually. James Wilmot, too. He says, why don't you talk about YouTube videos like before they were famous, The Walking Dead or Comic-Con, or when Lauren Cohen on the Jimmy Kimmel Show talked about being pulled over while driving home while still in a bloody costume from The Walking Dead, or The Walking Dead parody by The Hillywood Show, or any of the many films of TWD. I think he means like fan films. And he says, please be careful not to get your channel into trouble showing copyrighted stuff. Yeah, you always got to be careful. Nowadays it's a lot more lenient than it used to be. It used to be copyright strikes would be handed out like Happy Meals. You just get, you every couple months, it's like you better get used to it because you're going to get a strike for something. Even if you don't do anything, you're going to get one because they're trying to keep the engine clean. And it's hard because people are uploading like hours and hours of content every few seconds nowadays. It's crazy, right? So definitely YouTube has their work cut out for them to try to keep it clean, and it's not easy. And sometimes you get people who are doing legitimate stuff and get caught in the crossfire. Which even still happens nowadays. Happened to me a few months ago, and luckily they corrected it, thankfully. But you never know what happens. The future is always uncertain. You could get hit by a car crossing the street, even if you look both ways. Sometimes you just never know. What can happen. The future's uncertain. And okay, so your question about why don't I do more videos like that? Well, sometimes I do if it's something I view as like really cool. Like I did a review for Honest Trailers of The Walking Dead last year and stuff like that, and sometimes I'll review parodies and stuff. But if it just goes to like simple interviews and stuff, which don't really have a lot of value or something, like, well, Lauren Cohen talking about being pulled over is funny, but can I make a whole video on that? No. Is it something sometimes I might mention in a Q&A? Yeah, sometimes. Before they were on The Walking Dead, that's something that I've done after. I've done a video after The Walking Dead, what they're up to. I could do one before, but I would do my own rather than like review another. I would just make my own, that type of thing. So it depends. I try to do as much as I can, but about 10 videos a week with my full-time job, and still trying to work out a little bit. Try to stay in not great shape, but at least get in a couple workouts a week. Is about the best I can do. So yeah, along with everything else I'm doing, keeping up life relationships and stuff is hard enough as it is when you're doing that all the time. So yeah, there's only so much I can do. So that's it. But I try to stick to things. I try to make the best. Like when I make a video, I try to think of, okay, what should I put my time into and do for you guys that will make the best kind of video that you guys will enjoy seeing, and I do that. And if I have no ideas at all, then I just do anything. And these type of videos, James, fall into that anything category, where if you don't know what to do at all, if you have no ideas, just make anything, because it's better than nothing. Anything is better than nothing, at least usually, as long as it doesn't get you in trouble, right? Like copyright stuff. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. I'll wrap up the Q&A here. Keep sending me your guys' questions. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. As always, you guys are always awesome. And yeah, that's it for this one, guys. Check out thewalkingdead.com. Hopefully they'll feature some more of the videos. I hope they will. Send me your questions. Send me your video suggestions. And if you wouldn't mind, please like the video. Please thumb it up. If you want to help support the channel, please share it. Please favorite it. If you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left, go ahead and subscribe. That's it for this one. See you guys for the next one. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace.